Hello, everybody. So, just before we get started recording today, I do need to give, I guess, a brief disclaimer in case we hear. Stop me if you've heard this before. In case there are any ungodly noises coming from my apartment, which has paper thin walls and floors and ceilings. But I had a awesome night last night that has basically left me deliriously tired today. But like to start off, I told you a bit about this cam today, but I don't really think I told you about just how awkward it was.
No. Yeah, no, you just said, hey, man, didn't sleep well. A lot of noises from my neighbors
Yeah.
late at night.
Yep. Yeah. So
And I said, dude, don't ever text me. Don't ever text me on this number. This is my private number. You use the work number.
Yeah. Right.
And you were like, I'm sorry, senpai. And I was like, yeah, sorry doesn't fucking get my time back. I need my $50. Yeah. Send me $50 for my time.
I will not send you $50.
Use the work phone.
Yeah. But so anyway, so like yesterday after work, I work like long shifts, so I work like 10 plus hours usually. And I went to the gym and did some squats and deadlifts, so I was really tired. And I get home, and weirdly, because yesterday was the 15th of the month, but I guess it's one of those. There's an empty unit above my apartment, and like at like 6 o'clock, I start hearing but this is right when I get home. I start hearing people like move up there, and I was just like, okay, kind of late in the day to be moving into a place, but maybe they've been bringing things all day long. And like that's going for like a couple hours, but it was like definitely done around like 7:30 to 8. And for the listeners at home, I work very early in the morning, so I'm usually up at like 5 a.m. So I go to bed early. I go to bed about 9 p.m. last night, right? Maybe a little bit later than that, 9:15. At 12:45, I was woken up by basically just like the heaviest furniture being dropped like directly above me, and like all of these like dressers, and like you just tell the heaviest furniture just being moved around in these like very thin ceiling above me. It's like 1 a.m. at this point. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck? Wait, there was no noises when I went to bed. Like it seemed like they had finished. My best guess is these people must have like, I don't know, gone out and grabbed a few drinks or something like that before they come back. And so after about 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, they're like not stopping. I'm just gonna like go knock on the door and be like, hey guys, maybe let's sleep on the mattress tonight, because like I gotta be up in like a few hours.
Yeah.
So I get up there and I knock on the door, and there's no answer. I knock, no answer. I'm like, hello, and you can hear everything stop, but nobody answers. It's just like all the noises stop. I wait there for a minute. I'm like, okay. So I walk downstairs. I get back in bed. And like I'm in bed for like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then it all starts up again. And I was like, okay, all right. So I walk back upstairs, and I'm knocking on the door, and this is how loud, I guess, all the noises were in the apartment above me. They just like clearly are not hearing me. And then finally I'm getting to the point like I have to like fucking knock like a cop or something like that, and yell. I'm like, hello. And all of a sudden they stop. They go, oh my god, there's somebody out there. And they can hear these people get up to the door. They don't open it. They just get up to the door and like, is somebody out there? I'm like, hey, yeah, it's Evan. I live in the unit below you. And they're like, oh my god, we didn't know there was anybody else down there. And I'm like, because first off, my porch, which is attached to my unit, has like furniture and shit on it. Like the parking lot is full of cars.
Yeah.
Like there's people in the other units. I'm like, yeah. So it's 1 a.m., guys. And so they don't open the door at all, like at any point during this interaction. And they're like, yeah, sorry, we just need to set up our beds so that we can go to sleep. And I was like, okay. Yeah, because it's 1 a.m. and like I have to wake up at like 5 for work. And they're like, yeah, sorry about that. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah,
And
man, you can sleep on your mattress on the floor.
Yeah, or like, dude, when I moved into this
For
place...
one night, you can do that.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, obviously not everybody has this choice too, but like when I moved in here, I didn't finish like moving my stuff until like 8 p.m. because like, there's all that shit that went on the day that I moved in, and I just went and slept on my buddy's couch and then came back here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can do that kind of
shit. You should have invited them to sleep on your couch.
Yeah,
just
no
face,
way.
just inches away from you.
So I do know. So this is supposed to be like, I think 2 girls living above me. Last night it was definitely like 1 girl and 1 guy. So maybe it's like only one of them moved in and they had their friend with them. But it's just like very funny that like, I don't know, both of them just like cowered behind. Like the dude like didn't even open the door or anything like that. Like, I guess I get being like,
maybe they're like young kids and this is like their first
Yeah.
time living in the city, and they're like,
Yeah,
oh,
maybe.
maybe this is some big scary city,
Yeah.
man.
Like, yeah, and I'm just sitting here with my eyes like half open, like if it like basketball shorts or shirt, and I was just like, okay, yeah, because I have to work at 5. I have to wake up at 5 a.m. They're like, okay, sorry. So I go back downstairs. They're still doing shit for like another half an hour, and then like I can hear them putting their clothes away and like slamming the drawers in the bureau. But finally, I was able to fall asleep, maybe sometime like after 3.
Yeah.
And something like that. And I wake up and at first I was just going to like call into work and be like, hey, I'm going to come in after breakfast. I just need like a couple more hours of sleep because this happened. Except I can hear them like up there rooting around again. So it's just like, dude, are these people just like blowing lines of Adderall or something like that and like moving? But yeah,
Maybe,
so anyway.
man. Yeah, that sucks. You sounds like you had yourself a real old guy moment.
Oh,
you,
dude,
you
yeah.
dang kids, keep down
dude.
this racket.
I know. I mentioned it to one of my buddies, and he was like, "Dude, you need to get a broom so you can be the guy with the broom."
Yeah,
the ceiling.
you already have that sweet cane.
Yeah, I do have the cane.
The cane would work.
The elephant cane.
So far, that cane's only been used to like try to whack nuts with. So you may as well put it to like some constructive use.
Yeah.
You know what you should get, and this is not gonna. And I'm not saying that you should just completely adapt to other people being inconsiderate, but maybe consider like some sort of noise machine.
Oh, I have a noise machine.
Okay,
That's how loud this was.
Okay, so this was overpowering the white noise. And,
I also I have a studio apartment. You've seen it.
Yeah.
But for the listeners, I have a studio apartment. It's got like really high ceilings and it's a wide open space. So the noise machine, it's like it used to be a lot louder in my room at my old place.
Yeah,
because that was like a really tiny room. You saw that room. This one, it's wide open, so the sound just kind of.
I've seen all your rooms. For the past.
You've seen all of my rooms ever.
Actually, yes, I've seen all of your rooms ever. You haven't seen all of my rooms, but you've seen almost all of my rooms.
Yeah, but you have seen all of my rooms ever, except for when I was like an infant and like.
Yeah.
But my childhood home, I had been living in since I was like 1 year old.
Yeah, actually, I don't know that I ever saw the room. Did you always live? Wait, because weren't you moved down to the basement at that point?
No.
We just always hung down there. That's right.
Yeah.
So you still had a room upstairs. I think I honestly only went up there like once or twice though.
Yeah.
You didn't bring folks up past the first floor.
I mean, yeah, there were like tiny like children's rooms.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I want people to see all of your puppets.
Yeah.
Your collection of marionettes.
My dollies. My sweet dollies.
They're not dollies. They're not toys. They're collectibles. They're porcelain dolls.
With their rouge cheeks and large teeth.
Listen, man. This is why I've never found the perfect wife, because no one could be as perfect and
I have
beautiful
a room full of wives. All my daughters are my wives.
All of my sweet, fragile darlings.
Yeah. I practice polyamory, friend. Polygamy, sorry.
Come, meet the polycule.
Yeah.
No, they're all named Polly. That's the...
Yeah.
Well, that sucks, man. I'm sorry that happened. I mean, I've never been like that light of a sleeper, but I know
I'm a heavy sleeper. That's the thing, too, though.
Yeah, man. It sounds like they were really... And they just thought there was nobody down there, so they were just like, fuck it. We could just do whatever we want.
Yeah, it was just move. Yeah, and they're like dropping boxes and shit like that.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, But yeah, then I had to work like a 10-hour shift, so I'm like pretty deliriously tired at this point. So I might be a little loopy.
Hey, that's okay. I mean, we'll keep it tight.
Brief.
So with that in mind, do you want to start the show?
Let's do it.
Okay, great. So
Yeah. Well, first I want to say, because it seems like we probably have a lot of new listeners this week. So
yeah.
for people who've never listened before, but are just tuning in now because they listen to I guess somewhat viral our episodes with Jimmy Fallon Gong on the book Program to Kill. You know, they got a shit ton of downloads this week.
Yeah.
After some good Twitter posts. So for anybody who's listening now from that, I just want to say welcome. My name is Evan, and I'm joined by my buddy Cameron.
Hey.
And yeah, so we're the two hosts of this podcast, and generally the format is we switch off in between hosting it, like leading like the hosting duties. You know, basically 50-50 split there, and we have some different episode formats. It started off really with like short, like single episodes or maybe 2 episodes of like history topics. But it's eventually like, grown out to be something much different. But we kind of split between doing like lighthearted episodes where we just kind of banter with each other. Ones where we just kind of talk about politics or public or current events, stuff like that. And then also increasingly lengthy, increasingly heavier researched history topics. That we spend a ton of time on, and that's basically mainly what you'll see from us. If you really do like the show and you start listening frequently, which we hope you do, we also have a Patreon, but we'll talk about that more at the end. That you can contribute to help keep the show going. But anyway, we're really happy for you to be joining us today, and listening with us. So thank you if you are a new listener.
Yeah, seriously, thank you guys. It's it's really cool that those episodes are still getting so much traction, and Jimmy was really, really cool coming on the show, and was a real big inspiration to us in the way that we try to do things. Not in every way, because as Evan said, we do a lot of fun stuff where we're just kind of shooting the shit. I think this week's going to be one of those. But when it comes to the way that we research, the level of academic integrity that we're striving for, which is why the format of our show has changed so much. He was a huge inspiration to us. So if you've migrated over here from that, then as Evan said, thank you very much, and we're happy to have you.
Welcome to the fold.
So last week we did, and I'm sure that I know some folks have listened to this already, but just to kind of shout it out in case it isn't abundantly clear seeing it pop up in your feed, we sort of re-released / finished my dramatic reading of the classic Jim Theus fantasy novella, The Eye of Argon, published in the 1970s by what seems to be the horniest young man of all time. And it's a really fun sort of lighthearted. It's pretty violent and sexual, but it's lighthearted. Romp in the swords
I would say
and sandals.
Maybe not the most progressive views.
No, oh my gosh, no, not at all.
How to treat other people, and especially women.
Definitely not the most progressive. But honestly, really interesting. And I couldn't read all of it on air because the only part that's public domain is the story, right? The original, The Eye of Argon. But there are lots of essays and lots of scholarship circulating around about the because it's a really early example of something being kind of viral, like long before the internet was a thing, and it's just sort of endured as this example of like homespun. It's sort of like a fanfic almost, or like I don't know, something that you would see on like a Reddit short stories. It's of that sort of caliber, but it's so
No Sleep or something.
I guess, it's so like seminal and so fucking wild, and the style of the prose is so out there. It's really worth a listen. So if you saw that pop up and were like, oh, like, didn't they already release this? Yeah, so the first half of it is the original recording. But when I went back and listened to it, it sounded not great. And so I tweaked it as much as I could with, my limited skill set and tried to make it sound a little more tolerable, and then read the rest of the book and released it all as one big it's sort of like the Lord of the Rings extended editions, and I was actually surprised. So I initially endeavored to release 2 full-length episodes, which I guess I still could have done, but it ends very abruptly. And I wasn't prepared for that because I was reading from a digital copy, so I didn't realize how little there was left to the story. So, I left that in. I was very shocked when it ended. I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's the end of the Eye of Argon. But it's sweet, and you should check it out. And it's definitely fun for like your commute or whatever.
Yep.
And I left all of my reactions and stuff in there. And on that same note, I really like the idea of that, like, of doing more stuff kind of in that vein. I guess the Eye of Argon is so specific, and the availability of that as something that can be just sort of read on a podcast and not have any legal repercussions is so unique. But if anybody thinks of any similar kind of adjacent...
please let us know.
Please let us know, because I love that shit.
We did have, I'm not sure if you saw this, Cam, but we did get DM'd on the account on Twitter. Because somebody, a longtime fan, and one of my mutuals on Twitter had mentioned that he was like really stoked that you basically shouted him out to redo that. So,
okay. So that's funny, because that person was what's their handle? Because I couldn't find it. The initial when I went back to find the initial exchange on there it had been deleted.
Yeah, they have a new account, so the new
gotcha.
account is the one in our DMs right now.
In the DMs of the show?
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking about at Pear is a Patsy. That's
gotcha.
What we're talking about, so.
Yeah, well, okay. I was gonna say I remember the name too. So, so Pear is a Patsy. That's you, and I wanted you to reach out and let us know that it was you, because like I said, it literally took one person being like, "Hey, can you finish that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, say less," because I really liked that, and I don't know. It might not be the most popular episode we ever released, but it was one of my favorites to do. So glad that somebody was into that. So anyway, what else? On the subject of books, and I know that you also had something that you wanted to talk about, but this is history adjacent, and I thought worth kind of talking a little bit about. I just read a really fun book by an English writer named Arafi Prasad. But it was called Silk: A World History, and I think in the UK its actual title was a little headier. It's Silk: A History in 3 Metamorphoses. But it was really cool, and I've read a lot about like the Silk Road and silk from that aspect, but this was sort of a history of silk as a textile, and like weaving together like the component of silk that we think most of, which is as just sort of like this trade commodity that pushed the limits of human commerce and like forged these bonds between like east and west across like Eurasia, and but it also went really deeply into like the internal biological processes by which various species on Earth create silk, and then like the different ways in which that's been harvested and used. And it's really fascinating. And then there are obviously lots of modern applications where silk is being examined, because we've come to realize that silk has like really amazing applications for helping wounds to heal, and forming lattice works over like burns to allow skin grafts to better take. They're working on creating silk-based corneal transplants. Yep, which is really cool. And then silly things that aren't practical, but like you can make really nice sounding violin strings out of spider silk. And just sort of the transition from like the silkworm, right, which is this heavily genetically modified, domesticated iteration of a moth, which is endemic to East Asia, that at this point, is now this like totally flightless, basically helpless on its own creature that only exists to make these like silky cocoons, and wouldn't be able to exist without human husbandry. And that for a long time was like sort of the be all end all of where silk comes from. And then there's this really long and really interesting search over like 3 or 4 centuries where Europeans mainly were trying to figure out like, is there an alternative to this that like is better quality and would like divorce us from the need to trade with Asia and like import silks and whatever. And the long story short of it is like, yes, but like it's all so impractical that now, like in present day, we're back to just realizing that like silkworms are where it's at, and that like humans perfected that 2,000 years ago. And like, I don't know. I think it's just really interesting. So if you're looking for something, it's definitely, I would say that it leans more into like the popular history direction, but it's really well researched, and the bibliography was really extensive. So worth checking out. So the book is called Silk: A History in Three Metamorphoses, or Silk: A World History, because we're dumb in America, and I think that we can't handle
metamorphoses.
By Arathi Prasad. That was a cool read, and without just like rehashing the entire contents of the book, that's my little reading rainbow pitch. You should check it out.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, so I guess that's awesome. Silk.
There was also a book
good
called
to touch.
It does. It feels great to touch.
Well,
I like to wear a silk kimono around the house.
Kimono dog.
Yeah, dude. Fucking look at that. That's a kimono, dog.
Yeah.
I'm gonna flex and bust out of here.
Yeah. You see these? Shaved armpits. It means I'm aerodynamic when I fight.
That's still such a fucking funny movie.
I mean, it's Danny McBride. He's always fucking hysterical.
Yeah. You just got hit by a Daewoo Lanos, motherfucker.
Motherfucker. How you like me now? And then just shoots his foot off. A sawed-off shotgun.
Oh, my God.
Yep. But yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. I guess I would also before I talk about the thing I wanted to, I guess I would be remiss because I don't think we've really talked about it too much in depth. But like the current state, or at least recently, like the current state of like Israel and Palestine, and obviously all of the protests, and like some of the insane shit that has just been going down around that, including let's see, Joe Biden finally caving and saying that they were going to limit shipments to Israel of like certain weapons. That lasting all of about 10 hours before like one of the foreign ministers from Israel came in and apparently just bitch slapped everybody in Congress in America, like who's the vassal state here, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And basically accused everybody of forgetting about Hamas's atrocities on October 7th and everything like that. And then immediately another $1 billion shipment being greenlit to go to Israel to continue that the genocide. There's also, the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, where the United States just, apropos of nothing, or I think maybe with some pushing from Israel, said that if the ICJ finds anybody in the Israeli government guilty, that the United States will like sanction them or like will retaliate in some way. Then the ICJ releasing a ruling saying this is actually also illegal, intimidating anybody in the ICJ into not doing their job by threatening to personally retaliate against them is also a crime and is interrupting these proceedings. And then the United States doubling down and saying, yeah, no, if you put forth any arrest warrants, or if you basically do anything, any of the powers that you've been vested with, we will absolutely sanction you, and we will not consider this valid. So really just the legitimacy of both the state of Israel and the United States. Just every day, that just the two of them just sucking and fucking each other's off completely and eroding any confidence across the global community in both of these pieces of shit countries.
Yeah, it's really it's been so like on the nose lately too.
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's like beyond parody. Like,
yeah, there's not even really, and I think it's unfortunate that it has to get to this point for like people to start realizing, but I feel like more and more folks are kind of coming around to like this, like it's like our like, are we the baddies moment, Like like it's just
we are the fucking Fourth Reich.
Yeah, like, it's so apparent that there's not even really any good faith attempt to conceal, our obvious willingness to like fund this genocide.
Yeah.
Or that's what it is, right? There's not even much of a good faith attempt to just like deny that that's the end goal. Is like the eradication of the Palestinian people. And the revising of history to make the claim that they not only are they to be eliminated, but maybe they weren't even really a people to begin with.
Yeah, like, all of this bullshit, too, that's saying, like, well, actually, they came here, they weren't totally, they came here back in, like, 800 AD, like, or, like, when the Arab migration came here, so we're allowed to kick them out now, 1,200 years later.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, that's fair, but,
I mean, not really.
Well, no, hold on, hear me out. I don't mean that's fair. That's fair is not the right term to use, but you can make the case that, across North Africa, a lot of these people self-identify as Arabs, but their ancestry is largely formed up of indigenous.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, so yeah, they are Arabicized culturally, and they tend to speak some version of Arabic. Yeah, and they tend to be Muslim. So culturally, they owe a great deal of their cultural heritage to, But at that point, it's like, who's indigenous to where? Because like my family considers ourselves Scottish, but like the Scots weren't a people until the early medieval period. You know what I mean? Like,
or I
don't know that
I have like direct family that came from Portugal, but then like, because like I guess I'm not gonna say too much, I guess, about like the name or stuff like that, but like it's like known that initially we came from Spain, but then like also like, so are we even Portuguese? But then it's like you can go further back to, it's like, all right, well then maybe like back in like 500 600 we came from fucking like Central Europe or something like that.
Right.
During like Gothic migrations and shit. You know what I mean?
And and it just turns into this like slippery slope of like, so at what point are these people considered legitimate? Because I mean, by their own cultural admission, like the Jewish Israelites were not native to that land. I mean, that's the narrative of the Old Testament, is that they were gifted that land to conquer by God, and so it's.
The chosen people.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
I know. This is a big refrain that people love to say too. Oh, we're the chosen people by God. It's like, you know what? That kind of sounds a lot like. I'm not even gonna say it, but that sounds a lot like another phrase that's been used.
It's just like there's no real basis, you know, in historical fact for people to have these like definite claims to a given place, because the story of human history is one of migration.
Yeah.
Migration, and then the intermingling of different peoples from different places, and the forming of new societies on the basis of that.
I mean, there's a reason that Israel isn't a fan of DNA testing. Let's just say that.
Right. Well, because the vast majority of you know, Israelis are of European extraction.
Yeah.
Which, whatever. And I don't want to get too into the weeds with, like, the genetic stuff, because I think it's really easy for people to distort that, and then you get like mired down in like eugenic type stuff, which is not the case that Evan and I are trying to make.
Yeah,
I guess all we're saying is like, who's fucking from anywhere?
Yeah,
like
probably the people whose houses are currently being taken.
Yeah,
who've,
right.
Like lived there their entire lives. They're probably from
like
there.
If you have like, you know, 3 or 4 generations of claim to a place, like that's as long back as anybody remembers, and longer still, you know, and I understand that this gets really sticky, especially when you talk about things like, you know, colonial states like the one we live in, right? Like, it's tough, you know. It's not like I'm saying that I have some, like, blood right to this land here. I understand that I'm descended from settlers from elsewhere. But it's, at the same time, it's like, I don't know. It's just so nasty and gnarly that to try to speak with any kind of authority and claim, like, well, we have a right to this land, but they don't. It's like, well, who the fuck has a right to, like... I don't know, man. It's such a flimsy basis to justify the kind of violence that's happening right now.
Yeah, and also it's part of the like the it's like beyond parody thing here. I don't know if you paid attention to this, but the Eurovision contest, which honestly I don't understand what it was this weekend. But so they have the fan vote part with the music, and there was an Israeli star named Eden who had a song.
Yeah,
and apparently, she placed pretty high. Was it like 5th or something like that?
Yeah, it was pretty high. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, and so like, and the whole point was that, but then like Israel came out and admitted that they were like paying people to vote. Like that they were like, and they admitted like, oh yeah, we had like voting stations set up where we were paying people to vote for Eden. And like, so the whole point would be to like wash the reputation on your global stage and say like, see, the people, they support Israel and the Israeli cause and what we're doing to the Palestinians. But then it's like, okay, but if you want that, then you can't come out and say that you were paying people to do that. Right. Like, that negates what you just did.
Yeah.
Why would you admit that? Like,
I don't know. It's tough too, because that creates exactly what I think people need to be careful of, which is like, okay, so on the one hand, you've got this really justified anger at the Israeli government and the actions of the Israeli military as like a political entity, right?
Yeah.
But why would you go out of your way to create a scenario that's then going to like bring that sort of any more than it already naturally does? That's going to bring that more into like the civilian sphere, and you just start creating these narratives where like people are accusing just Israeli people of being like bad and shifty and this and that, and it's like, we don't need any of that. That's not fucking what's the benefit of that? Like, there's already this fucking tension. Just like participate in Eurovision like normal. Like, why does that have to get dragged into
or
this
try
fucking...
to cheat, but then don't say, hey, guess what, we cheated. Like,
yes,
it's like, what the fuck, like
well, and there was this whole thing with this Dutch guy too, Joost whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
he got like disqualified.
Yeah, Europapa. That's his fucking song. It's not good. The songs from Eurovision are never good.
No.
I think Europeans have largely objectionable taste in music.
Yeah,
and I say that with obviously with a large grain of salt, but like, even like the shit that I like tangentially like the metal and stuff,
Yeah.
A lot of it's fucking shitty and dog shit. Like, Europeans just don't create good stuff a lot of the time. So Eurovision is often
and again, I also want to specify that I'm like agreeing with you that this is like mostly tongue in cheek, but not entirely.
Yeah.
I have this buddy one time who said this thing, and he was like a touring like musician in like punk bands and shit. But like he also listened to metal, and he said this one thing once where he was like, dude, what is it with metal bands and their ability to somehow like correctly hit all the right notes and like hit all the right parts and themes, but still somehow miss the point entirely.
What do you mean, like with like their music or?
Yeah, with like metal music. He said,
Yeah.
what is it with like European metal bands?
Oh, European metal bands, yeah. Yeah, totally. Like somehow there is always something that's kind of off, dude. Like,
except for like Swedish like old school death metal bands who like definitely they fuck just as hard as the American ones. You know
I mean, but you can
like Entombed and shit.
There are always examples of stuff that's cool. Like, there's a lot of really cool like German thrash metal and stuff too. Like, and I know you're not like a melodic death metal guy or like a power metal guy, but there's cool examples of those genres too. But but you're not as open minded. You're still. Kind of
I am a American nationalist for one thing, and that's I think we do metal the best.
Oh, I agree with you completely. I completely agree with you. And I across all genres, every single genre, we rule. And I include the UK in that too. There's actually, you know what? I don't know if the UK counts because like I don't think they should be considered part of Europe. I mean, obviously a lot of Brexiters agree, but when it comes to metal, like I feel like the UK is its own thing too. Because there's some like I'm a huge like Maiden, Priest, fucking like new wave of British heavy metal. I love like Sabbath. I mean, obviously Sabbath.
Yeah, Sabbath.
Sabbath are the lords.
See, Sabbath are honorary Americans.
That's what I'm saying. I almost lump all that shit in with us.
Like, we claim that. Yeah,
we definitely claim.
They had Ronnie James Dio in the band. He's
Yeah.
Wait, was he Canadian or was he American?
He's from like New Jersey or something.
Okay, yeah, good. Regardless, Canadians are also Americans.
Have you ever listened to Dio's like? He had like some doo-wop albums.
Oh, what, from his early days?
Yeah.
No, I never listened to.
I'm gonna see if
but
I can find it.
I do know he did shit like that before, like Rainbow and all that.
Yeah, Ronnie Dio and the Prophets.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if it's on Spotify so I can play it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Ronnie Dio and the Prophets. Isn't this sick? You can hear it's him. It's Dio.
Yeah, that's Dio. That's our little manlet god. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. The little Italian screaming demon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's and his voice is so good.
Yeah, it's amazing. And he's not classically trained either. He just like taught himself to do that.
And he was tiny.
Yeah, he was like 5'2". Yeah.
Huge voice coming out of such a tiny package.
Yeah.
Oh, I fucking love Dio.
Yeah, Ronnie James Dio rules.
But you know he's clean. Oh, don't you see what I mean? Gotta get away, holy diver. Yeah. Got shiny diamonds like the eyes of a cat in the black and blue. Something is coming for you. Race for the morning. You can hide in the sun till you're he's clean. Oh, don't you see what I mean? Gotta get away, get away. Gotta get away, get away. Yeah. Holy diver, some survivor. You're the one who's clean. Holy diver, holy diver. Get the cats in the blue coming after you. Holy diver, oh, holy diver. Yeah, alright. Get away, get away, get away. Holy diver, holy diver. Oh, holy diver.
Anyway, speaking of the UK, the thing I wanted to talk about this is like a horror story straight out of the UK, and I don't know, I consider doing like a full episode on this, but I didn't really have time to go through that this week. But you have ties, familial ties to the UK. Mm-hmm. Are you aware of the convicted serial killer Lucy Letby?
The name sounds familiar. What was her MO?
So she is a convicted.
Oh,
serial
the nurse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so apparently there's a retrial for one of the murders. And so there's still the gag order in the UK on reporting on this. However, the way it kind of works is you can report on her guilt all you want, really. And like basically like what all the jurors said was that like they were decided of her guilt before the trial even started. Mm-hmm. Because of how it was reporting. But anything that like reports on potentially her innocence gets gag ordered, and there was this like super long, in-depth New Yorker article that came out this week that got straight up fucking banned in the UK.
Wow.
And like, dude, it is one of the most horrifying things I've ever read.
Yeah, she was killing babies.
No. Well, according to this New Yorker article, no, she was working in a maternity ward or a neonatal ward that was kind of maybe collapsing under like NHS underfunding.
Okay.
And just got like railroad. Dude, the fucking evidence that they gave at her trial and that they talk about in this article is like, dude, she got sentenced to life in prison.
Yeah.
And like, this is like the shoddiest fucking shit I've ever heard in my life. A lot of it doesn't even specify how she killed babies. It's like, well, it died and she was there, so it must have been her. Like, dude, people changed their testimony over the years. People said that.
So wait, is the idea now that she's like actually not responsible for this?
Well, in the UK, no, because they keep gag ordering all this shit. But, dude, if you read this article, it's like, oh my god, this fucking poor girl probably just got blamed for this. And, like, so, like...
Well, I don't want to jump to saying that this poor girl, because, I mean, I've heard a lot of the initial stuff, and it's pretty heinous. Like, so I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to read it, because...
Yeah, you should
my
read this
initial
article.
reaction to her is that she's a fucking scumbag piece of shit. But...
No, but the thing
innocent,
is, there's like, in the article, they talk about different modes of killing. One of which, like, they claim that she was, like, so also, here's the thing, like, a lot of these babies, like, they were all, like, prematurely born, like, right at, like, the edge of where this ward could even, like, care for them. And, like, a lot of them either started going south before her shift began, or that they died after her shift left, or after she, like, got off her shift. There's once where these babies were so sick that they sent them to a different hospital, and that hospital's like, now we can't handle it right now, and would send the baby back. Like, there's at one point they tried to say that she was insulin poisoning them, killing them through insulin poisoning.
I remember hearing that.
But however, one of the babies that died from insulin poison, she wasn't there when the baby was given an IV bag.
Right.
And they're saying that she had dosed the IV bags. One of the IV bags was just grabbed randomly from a fridge and given to the baby, and then the baby died. And she wasn't even involved. She wasn't even there.
Right.
The other ones, when they tested the insulin, the people who tested insulin were like, we can't test this stuff forensically, so like these could be anomalous readings. We don't have the necessary equipment to like actually do this. You guys need to send it to a forensic lab. And like, no, that's okay.
Right.
But then they said anyway, oh yeah, she killed them through insulin right here. And then they also they also said that sometimes she would just inject them with air, but like there's not, or like that, like there would other be ones too where they said that like a doctor had put stuff into their stomach, like some kind of tube, and then the doctor was worried that it placed it wrong, but then she was the nurse under care, and they said, oh, since she was the nurse under the care, maybe too much air got into baby. It's all like about like maybe this happened, but they don't really have definitive stuff like that. And that like, oh, the baby got too much air, she must have shifted the tube after the doctor put it in or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like a constantly changing MO. A lot of it is just like total, like sometimes she wasn't even there for when these things happened. It's like the thing is, there was also like baby deaths before she started working there, and then like one or two after she left, but that they only look at the ones from like when she worked there. And so it's like all of this like super shoddy shit. And then her defense attorney just seemed like completely incompetent and like wouldn't call like didn't call like an expert witness to like testify against like certain shit. And so like whether she's innocent or not, like you have to read this and you're like, this is a miscarriage of justice whether or not she was guilty, because like, dude, this is the like shoddiest shit I've ever read in my life.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to, I have it up now, I'm gonna have to read it when we get off the air. Because it's that's really intriguing. I remember when this happened, the way that it was presented was that it was like pretty overwhelming, but it's not like I invested a ton of time, and I'm not some true crime junkie, so I heard dead babies and I said, that's not for me.
The thing is too, they also have all of her text messages and shit like that, all of her search history. None of her search history indicates that she was looking up like how to like kill babies or anything like that, but she was in therapy after the deaths and stuff like that, and she very unfortunately wrote some stuff that like when you read it, like you can tell it's like a young person who's like trying to cope with the fact that like a few babies have died on their watch. And like it's like sort of therapeutic things that she's writing. One of which says, "I killed him on like you killed this baby on purpose." But like you can like when you actually read it, like the whole note, it sounds like she's like being like hard on herself, like trying to like write out the negative thought that you have or something like that, in order to like kind of expel the negative emotions. And when the questions about it, she was like, "Yeah, this is like a tactic that like I was working through in therapy and stuff like that." And so, like, that was supposed to be one of the like, smoking guns, where, like, these, like, really, like, brutal notes that she wrote, like, in a notebook about herself, like, trying to deal with it. And it was, like, all this stuff. It was fucking insane. Yeah, dude, if you, like, read this, it looks like just a person just got, like, railroaded. Blamed. And also because, like, like, I think part of it, too, is because, like, the NHS, obviously, is, like, this great, like, socialized healthcare in the UK. But much like the Postal Service in the United States has been getting, like, brutally underfunded in recent years, in order to try to undermine it, in order for privatization to come in and take it over. Like, the same thing really seems to be happening with the NHS, where there's, like, intentional underfunding in order to, like, try to push private health insurance. And private
which exists in the UK and has for a long time. It's just...
But,
there is this public alternative, which obviously lots of people use for... things, if you have the money and you have something serious, you might seek private care, but like for your average doctor visits and things like that, why would you not use the socially funded benefit? And for people that don't have the option to get private care, that's what you have.
And like basically what happened, this girl was like right out of school and like right out of like a 6-month training on how to deal with babies, and she's like immediately being like thrown like more babies at once than like you're supposed to like legally even be doing. Like a lot of the problems that you have in the United States with like overworking of nurses and stuff like that, and where like the doctors aren't really taking, there's not enough doctors or whatever, or the doctors are so spread thin that they're not able to like really like put like enough like care into like each patient, and then the nurses are having to like run between patients. They get told to
pick up the slack, and it all gets shoveled onto the fucking nurses, man. And then like I said, like some of these babies were getting sent to a different hospital because they were in such bad condition, and that hospital was like, yeah, we can't handle this, you guys gotta do this. Like some of the babies were not even like the hospital wasn't rated to take care of them because they were so premature, like and all this shit. And so like what it really looks like is that like these are like structural flaws within, because like due to like NHS underfunding, and that like at least it seems like this person maybe got like crucified for it and like put up as like basically the scapegoat in order to like not look like, oh yeah, these babies are dying that could be saved because of
inaction by politicians
Right.
and by hospital administrators and stuff like that. Oh. So it's a really interesting piece. I definitely recommend everybody read it. It's very scary because, like, again, like I said, like, whether or not she did it, like, they didn't fucking prove it.
Yeah.
And like,
Totally.
it's scary that, like, that could happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody, and like they were saying too, this girl was like, she was born premature herself, so she wanted to become like a neonatal nurse in order to like give back, because like she knew that she, like, her life was saved by the NHS and by nurses and all that. So it's like, so if that's true, it's like somebody like working their ass off to like try to like live their dream, and then just like the system just like a thresher taking them down.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's I'll have to read it.
Yeah.
I can't venture any thoughts on it until I've read the article, but it certainly sounds compelling, and we encourage you all to read it as well. Mm-hmm. Unless you're in the UK, in which case you cannot.
Yeah, you can't read it.
An IP
spoofer. Yeah, you have to use a VPN to read it.
Yeah, because I just briefly glanced it over. The New Yorker.
It is super long. It's like an hour plus long read.
Sure,
yeah.
But I meant just even like about it, like the New Yorker cowed to the geo whatever it's called, the geo blocker.
Yeah.
So that it's because they don't normally do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they wanted to get it released, so.
Yep. Yeah.
And it won't be in the print editions in the UK either.
Yeah. Yeah. No. The UK has a gag order, but yeah, like I said, like the jurors like said in this too. They're like, oh yeah, we were convinced of her guilt prior to even the start of this, because like, you know, the UK's got weird tabloid and reporting laws. Like, maybe if you're in America, you might not know what's like. So first of all, it's illegal to print anything that could undermine the public perception of the court system. Mm-hmm. And so since she was kind of like found guilty, or like the government is like prosecuting her, it's not really illegal to question the guilt, but it is like illegal to like promote like the innocence, because that could because it can undermine the entire like structure.
Right. If there was a miscarriage
system
of justice and you are reporting on that,
you're undermining.
Yeah, by definition, you're undermining the
exactly.
proceedings.
Yeah, the UK has weird laws too about like libel and shit like that. They have like really crazy libel laws, like you can,
which is crazy because their tabloid newspapers,
dude, they're insane,
are fucking savage,
dude. Yeah,
it's
like,
insane. Like, oh man, that's why I love like anytime there's like any kind of like sort of moral or intellectual superiority coming from like someone from the UK. It's like I don't know, man. Their society's pretty fucking garbage too.
Yeah, you guys.
You just like the ways your society's garbage, and you think our ways are fucking worse because we're provincials. But
but we're all
it's UK society's pretty UK society's pretty piggish, dude. It's not.
Yeah, seriously,
it's not awesome.
Yeah.
And they're responsible for jelly deals. So
yeah.
But I mean, you know, I just fucking rewatched The Mighty Boosh for like the 100th time. It's so good, dude.
Yeah, we talked about that in a recent episode.
No, but I watched it again since then.
That was like 3 weeks ago.
Well, yeah, I know, but then I had like showed it to somebody. I showed it to this girl I'm seeing, and then I was like, I'm just gonna watch all of it again anyway. Yeah. And so I've watched like, and I talk about how I don't watch TV shows, but I've seen that show so many times. Will you stay nails, boy? Live and wriggling. Eels up inside you, finding an entrance where they can. Yeah, man. So, what else?
I don't know. I think that's about what I got.
That's about what I got too, man. I read the book about Silk. Eye of Argon was cool. I'm making a chicken soup. So I'm about halfway through that process right now as we're recording. That's very exciting. I'm gonna go downstairs and pull all the meat off the chicken and toss those bones. I should keep the bones and make a stock, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah. I'm gonna have dinner based on whatever is the easiest things to grab in my kitchen right now, and then probably gonna go to bed around 7:00.
Olives, dude. I bet you'll have some olives.
Oh yeah, 2 different types. I got black and green.
2 different types of olives, huh?
Maybe some pepperoncini.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes, very nice.
Oh, yes, a little pickled pepper.
Yeah.
Yes. Paul, I want to sing a song about the octopus's garden, Paul. No, Ringo. No, play the drums, Ringo.
Yeah.
But Paul, it's a lovely song about the octopus in his garden, Paul.
Yeah. All right, yeah, I'm like delirious right now. So.
All right, man. Hey, well, you know what? I think this is plenty. You know, you can only give so much of yourself to the people. Okay.
Yeah. Last week's episode was 2 hours, which featured 0 of me. So
as the people want.
Yeah, as the people demanded. Yeah.
Honestly, maybe it would have gotten more downloads if the Ev heads had gotten what they want.
I rallied the Ev heads to refuse to
boycott it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There's no Evan. The only reason there's no Evan, so when we initially released it, there was some banter around it, but like
that was like a year and a half.
That's like a year and a half ago, and so I was listening. It's like we were talking about shit that like there's no relevance now, so I just cut it. I still have it if you want it for some reason. I didn't delete it. I didn't confine you to digital hell.
Yeah.
All right, go get some sleep, big dog, and hopefully the people upstairs are more considerate of you and your needs.
Yeah. But yeah. So real
Lord
quick,
knows you need some beauty rest.
Dude, yeah, I'm like fucking oh my god, I was so tired. All right, so if you enjoy the podcast and you would like to contribute in some small way, you can find us on Patreon. That is at patreon.com/leftunread. You can contribute a small monthly amount to help keep the podcast going. Eventually, we'll give you guys some perks, but right now we are perkless.
Yeah, we already snorted them all.
Yeah, dude, we are unperkled right now.
Why do you think Evan's so sleepy?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've been on a bender.
Perks.
Yeah, no. So, if you can't afford to donate anything, that's fine. You can support us in other ways. You can we spread by word of mouth, so you can tell your friends, coworkers, neighbors, people moving into
your neighbor's dad.
Yeah, neighbor's dad. Yeah, I want to meet that
your
dad.
Neighbor's uncle.
Yeah, uncle. Yep, you can do some uncles. Oh, love an uncle, love an aunt. But you can also rate and review us on your podcast app of choice. So that really helps us get found by the algorithm.
Mm-hmm. Well, hell yeah, agree. Yep. Yeah, yes to all of that. You'll find all the information pertaining to those things and more in our show notes.
Yeah. Correct.
And yeah, hopefully. What was that face?
I don't know.
Hopefully,
I'm delirious, dude. I'm
dude,
just making faces.
We gotta get this boy out of here. And hopefully, the last episode is an indication that if you reach out to us, it really doesn't take much to get us to do shit. If you ask us, because like we're so starved for your love.
We're puppies, dude.
We're such fucking losers. So shoot us some requests and some whatever, and we'll make it happen. All right, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time on another exciting edition of Left Unread.
Peace.